Welcome to Boca de Oro. We're so excited to be here with you. My name is Robin McNair. I'm the coordinator of visual performing arts. And with us, we have the amazing Mark Santos, who's the director of bands and orchestra at Godinez Fundamental High School. And also Sabrina Skills, who's our K-12 visual performing arts curriculum specialist. So we are here reminiscing a year later about the Boca de Oro that we experienced last year. So we wanted to show you what happened last year. So let's take a look.
Thank you, Boca de Oro, for inviting us tonight. We had a great time.
Man, that was just a year ago, March 7th, in the year of 2020. And then what happened 6 days later? March 13th, we voted in the school district to close down. So as of Monday, March 16th, we were now virtual learning in this distance landscape that we had no idea about ahead of time, and we didn't even have a chance to prepare for it. So Mark and Sabrina were both very, very instrumental in putting together Boca last year. And I want Mark to explain how he got his kids involved and what their experience was like.
So I went into it thinking that this would be the perfect opportunity to prepare for our concert. So what I did is I had all of my groups, 2 orchestras, 2 bands, jazz band, and mariachi, figuring out the scheduling where I wouldn't be having to run back and forth between huge venues and making sure that other groups who wanted to perform had their chance to perform as well. Hindsight 2020, no pun intended. I probably would have not had so many of my groups perform, but it was a great opportunity for them. But one thing that I made sure to do is that in previous years when my groups performed at Boca de Oro, they kind of showed up and left, and I didn't want that. I wanted them to experience the whole event and not just the event from the lens of the stage that they were performing. So because we had this scavenger hunt, this virtual scavenger hunt to find the 9 muses, I incorporated that into their grade for the day. So half of their grade for performing on that Saturday was actually taking screenshots and selfies with their friends in front of each of the 9 muses. And then the other half of their grade was the performance for the day. And of course they got community service for being there, and it was a great like a lot of the students came into it not knowing what was going to happen, but after reflection most of them said that it was a great idea because they discovered things about the festival itself that they didn't know existed before, because they were accustomed to showing up and leaving after they were done performing. So it was great. And it turned out that Boca de Oro was my last performance of the school year, or the academic year, and the year as 2020. We were supposed to have a concert that Thursday, the 12th, and at around noon on Thursday, before the district decided, our administration decided that they should stop all activities, after school activities. So our concert was canceled, and you know, you can imagine how devastating that was for the seniors. And on that Friday, I told all of my students, take your instruments home. And a lot of them were saying like, oh no, we'll be back soon. And I knew, I was like, no, we're not going to be back for a while. And so I also made sure to take pictures of my senior class on that Friday. So it was a little bittersweet. I didn't know that I wouldn't see them for the rest of the school year, but I knew I wasn't going to see them for a while. So I took a picture of all the seniors in orchestra and in band. A lot of them were thinking, why are we doing this? We could just take this picture later on and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. There was something about the atmosphere of the concert being canceled, because a lot of things have to happen to cancel a concert, right? Because instrumentalists and musicians and artists, for the most part, we are rain or shine kind of people. So for the concert to be canceled, it meant that what was going on in our world was really serious. And we made do. But luckily we had Boca to reflect back upon.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to unpack what you said just a little bit, because it's so powerful. And I wanted to point out in the video that if you look real close, you could see you and some of your kids too are in that video.
I saw my backside.
Directing and working away very hard that day, that glorious day when we were all together in person and could commune. And you saw the magnitude of it. It was all over the downtown of Santa Ana.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. What we were able to do, we had about 9 different, I think, schools represented in the scavenger hunt, but we had our students contributing on these mandalas, and they were supposed to represent the different muses that were featured in the festival, but then also represent their respective school program, their experiences. And we staggered them all around like key places in the event downtown, and just tried to make it very interactive to lead people through all the different experiences in a physical sense. And I think it meant a lot to everybody, just because it created that atmosphere that Mark was talking about, where students did get to go around and really get to involve themselves in different aspects of the festival they might not have been able to before.
Yeah, that was trying to expand every year and make it better and refine it. And that's why both of you have been on the core team and helped in the planning of Boca de Oro. And to Mark's point about rain or shine, the show goes on. We have really weathered some storms with our Boca de Oro festival when it was live. Rain or shine, we went on, tenting even the whole city. So it had to take a pandemic to really shut down a concert, right? And shut down performances for our kids, which was a very sad moment, especially as Mark mentioned the seniors. And you did something really special that actually got a lot of attention, Mark, for your seniors. So could you tell us about what happened?
Throughout the spring semester, after we went fully virtual, a lot of band and orchestra directors were putting together virtual concerts and all that. And it was kind of discovered and revealed that, we started spreading around the information that this kind of thing should not be expected of us, because virtual concerts are more a display of the director's technical prowess over the student's ability to perform. And so I thought to myself, well, I need to figure this out anyway. So, and we didn't have a concert. What I wanted to do, and the senior class, the class of 2020, held a special place in my heart because they were freshmen when I first got to Godinez. So they were my first set of kids, basically. They were my first 4-year cohort at Godinez. So I wanted to do something special for them. And the year before, we had a drumline show which revolved around this song called "See You Again" by Wiz Khalifa. And a lot of my students kind of really fell in love with that show. And when we performed that show to the student body the year before, we actually got a lot of positive emotional response from students and faculty, because it was a show about the 5 stages of grief. And so when we were talking about, I was talking with my leadership in the spring, and I was saying I want to do a song with you guys for graduation, like as a gift. And all of them said, we got to do "See You Again." And I was like, all right. So I didn't know how to do any kind of film editing. All I knew was how to arrange. So I arranged an orchestrated version of "See You Again." I had originally written it for drumline the previous year. I had to convert everything, reorchestrate it for band and orchestra. And luckily, I had a couple kids who knew how to play drums, and I had a couple guitarists. So we were able to kind of overlay their part as part of the backing track. And I created a backing track with a click. And I sent that out to the kids. And this was in, I think, April. And I said, film yourself playing along to the track. But what I encountered was a lot of students had lost a lot of motivation to even be at school, to even do school, because of everything being shut down. And even when I had just random pop-up Zoom meetings with students, I'd get a handful of kids. I noticed that my students, and a lot of students, kind of went inward with how sad it was to shut down everything, right? So it took about, I want to say, 4 to 6 weeks to get about 20 or so videos together. And then it took me another couple weeks to learn how to use the programs. I was working off of a laptop that could not handle the software that I was using. So that was a learning curve and a challenge. But finally, I was able to come up with a product and I posted it on YouTube, kind of as and I dedicated it, and to the class of 2020. And it actually got more attention than I was expecting. I just wanted it for the seniors, like, hey, this is for you guys so that you remember, everything, and you can see each other's faces and all that. And I got a call from Hetty Chang at NBC, and they showed it. It was only a couple minutes spot on NBC, but it was still really cool for the kids to be like, hey, I was on TV, And later on, a few weeks later, the administration and some of the lead teachers at our school mentioned that they would want to have that at graduation. And I worked with our choral teacher, Jeanette McMahon, and asked her if she had any vocalists that'd be interested in singing the actual lyrics, so that it wasn't just 4 minutes of instrumental music during the graduation ceremony, which was virtual. So we were able to get some of her brightest instrumentalists, and I think the product came out really nice, and I think we'll show it later. But yeah, it was a cool experience. I plan on doing something like that again this year. Now that I have better knowledge of the software, it might go a little better.
Well, that seems to be a recurring theme, isn't it? Arts educators across the district have had to really gain a new set of disciplinary skills. So not only are you a musician, you're a music teacher, you are now a film editor
Yeah.
and creating films. So it's really stretched our capacities in a long way. And it's actually kind of a blessing in a lot of ways for what kids have been able to do. But I think we're all dying to see this video you're talking about. We need to say it again. This was on Channel 4, NBC. Saw this. It was premiered for all of Southern California. And I think this is a really very big tribute to you and your works.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. I've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work's forever paid. Now I see you in a better place.
How can we not talk about family? Family's all that we got. Everything I went through, you be standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong with small. Turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and our bond will never be broken. That love will never get lost. And when brotherhood comes first, and that line will never be crossed. Established there on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is where we reach. So remember me when I'm gone.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always lead you home. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way to where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. When I see you again, see you again. When I see you again.
Well, I'm very emotional watching that, because seeing those kids, and I know many of them, and then where they're going to school and what they've gone through, and they put that together, that's just so beautiful and very special.
Yeah,
Thank you for making that happen. And I really miss our kids.
I know. Me too.
Yeah.
It's tough. I was actually on a podcast with one of my seniors the other day, and he surprised me by having a whole bunch of my graduated seniors jump on, and it was cool just to talk to them. And yeah, I mean, it's a good lesson in kind of, persevering and, getting through this. If they can get through this, they'll learn a
And
lot from it.
it's a good lesson too. And you never know, this might be the last time, right? So living every moment to its fullest, I mean, that's really true, but it is a good reminder about that. And it's nice to hear that you're staying connected to your students.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the arts. A lot of our kids just really stay connected with their teachers, and it's such an impact on their life. What is going to happen now? Like, how have you adjusted and adapted, and how are your kids adapting this year? And graduation this year is going to be virtual again.
Well, it's tougher, I think, for the freshmen because, and obviously the seniors, but it's tough for the freshmen in that they don't get the initial kind of how the program works normally, and that's one thing that I've been trying to establish over the past few years since I got to Godinez is I always talk about this philosophy. I call it the machine. The machine is essentially building from the ground up and getting to a point where the students already know how the program works. They know how the machine works, and they do everything in their power to make sure the machine stays running. And the proverbial wrench was thrown into the machine this past year, and we were in a good place. But the seniors or the freshmen didn't get that this year, so I'm I'm expecting to essentially start over with the program once we get back to in person. I have a lot of students that still really believe in the program, which is good, and they, the juniors, the freshmen or sophomores and juniors that I will have next year as seniors and juniors will be the foundation that I build the program on again. As far as virtual learning, I think the district did a good job of setting the expectations at the beginning and saying this is what grading is going to look like. And I think not changing that really helped. And students are submitting work. They're doing what we asked them to do. And that's student participation is a lot better than it was in the spring of 2020. Fall 2020, we didn't do any performances. I focused a lot on musical skills and appreciation of music. And those were things that I did not get to teach when we were in person. There are a lot of skills that I wanted to teach, but just never had time to. And now that I've created, essentially a whole academic year of virtual lessons, I plan on incorporating a portion of that once we go back to in person, because there are things that are valuable as musical skills that I don't have time to teach in 55-minute periods that I can say, all right, we played, there's an assignment on slides, make sure you get that done by the end of the week or something, where it'll be a hybrid. Once we go back in person, there's still going to be a virtual aspect to my class.
This is the beauty of what's happened, that we might as well make the best out of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's forced us to push our teaching practice and provide new ways of learning, expand opportunities for students. So I think a lot of this will live beyond. I mean, we have 100% elementary music lessons for all of the elementary kids. We've never had that before. And that's happening because of this virtual landscape. And an element of that is going to be able to live on forever, like you're saying, and students can be more self-directed. And we've had to focus on the individual artist and their individual musicianship and comprehensive musicianship. So it's given us some good times.
And I mean, if you even look at the pivot that we have to this event, even too, like in years past, we were always concerned about having everybody be able to go and see everything that's going on. And now it's a click away, it's all available right here in this environment and this platform we have for Boca. So there's a lot of advantages, but I also, there's disadvantages too. It's kind of a give and take of both.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we've learned even Boca can have some elements of that, because we can now have a global participation with our keynotes and access to people being able to come from anywhere around the country and around the world. And my daughter's in London, so she's going to be joining.
Oh, wow.
That's yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of being able to do this element and live stream some things that people are physical performance venues, but also be able to show an element for people who couldn't come.
So what's the next performance that's going to go on like national TV, Mark? No.
Yeah, come on, Mark, we're ready for your next big thing we want to see on the TV.
Well, I'm working on something right now. I'm hoping it gets done before graduation, but I don't want to say that it's going to happen for sure because who knows, who knows.
Well, it's
But
exciting that you've got something cooking up your sleeve there.
yeah, I do want to, I always want to have a gift for the seniors and something that they can walk away with. And I always ask them, like, how do you want to be remembered? Like whether they do something wrong or right. That's one of the things I always ask my students. How do you want to be remembered? And, sometimes it makes them think, wow, I messed up. Or it's like, wow, this is a real moment of pride,
Well, you certainly paid a beautiful tribute to those students of 2020. And I know you'll continue to do that and more amazing things. And we can't wait to see what's next. And we really appreciate this time to talk with you and hear a little, reminisce a little, and look forward to things in the future a little. So
Yeah.
thanks everybody for joining us. We're really happy to spend this time with you.